building technique we're going to learn is pinch pot. So all you need to create a pinch pot is a ball of clay, a placemat so you have a nice clean surface, and maybe some water if your clay dries out. It's very simple. You're going to take your ball of clay and you're going to roll it to create a rounder ball shape. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect and smooth in every single area, but the less bumps you have, more likely the more even your bowl will end up being. After you have a ball of clay, the first thing you're going to do is take your thumb and push a hole into the clay. Now if your thumb is too weak, you're really having a hard time, if your clay is a little bit stiff, you could even take the handle of something and push it in just to create an indentation. Now we're not going through the clay, we're just going part way into it. Once you're in there and you can fit your thumb into it, you're going to take your fingers on the outside and your thumb on the inside, and we're going to create a pinching motion. This pinching motion is going to help squeeze and redistribute the clay, and it's going to create a larger opening, and slowly we're going to get a larger surface area here. It's going to start looking like a bowl. So I'm going to turn and pinch, turn and pinch, turn and pinch. I'm going to keep turning, keep pinching, and once I've gone around at least once, it's going to start looking like a bowl shape. Now it's not a very smooth, even bowl. We're starting to get some cracks and splits. It's very lumpy. This is where we need to start taking both hands. So I'm going to be using both hands and doing a pinching motion with my thumbs on the inside, my hands on the outside, doing that pinching motion. And I'm going to be pinching and turning. This time I'm going to be doing it very gently. I am making sure I get to the very bottom. I'm making sure my fingers are curled all the way around. And I'm trying to make sure I pinch the bottom first, because the more I pinch the sides, the harder it's going to be for my hand to reach all the way down to get to the bottom. So I'm going to start by pinching the bottom, trying to get a nice even layer. My goal is to get an even layer from the bottom of the bowl all the way to the top of the bowl, and I'm trying to pinch and turn and pinch and turn so I get an even amount here. These are gentle pinches that I'm doing at this point. I'm trying to feel with my fingers how thick an area feels or how thin it feels. The thicker areas I'm going to pinch a little bit firmer so I can squish them out, and the thinner areas I'm going to not pinch at all or pinch very lightly. Now here's a little tip about the shape of your bowl. If you want your bowl to be wider, so you want it to be spread out more, so it's very large here, then when you do your pinching, keep your hands farther apart from each other, and that will help create a wider opening to the mouth of your bowl. Now if you want your bowl to be taller, you don't want it to be as shallow as this, you'd like that to have more height, then what you're going to want to do is keep your hands close together as you're pinching. So as I'm pinching, I'm keeping my hands side by side close together, and I'm sort of pinching this way. I'm kind of pushing the clay towards the center a little bit as I pinch, and what that does, I'm also kind of pushing together as well, and what that does is it helps squish it together and create more height and less of this kind of drooping effect. Once you feel that your thickness is pretty even all the way through, and we don't want really heavy thick spots. Heavy thick spots can crack and split and break in the kiln, so we want to make sure we've really pinched and evenly distributed our clay. But once you've done that, the next thing to do is to refine it. So I'm going in here and trying to smooth out the bottom with my finger. I'm holding it in one hand, using my fingers in the other to smooth it out. I might need to use a little bit of water to help spread that clay out. You never want to use too much water. Too much water can make your clay very, very weak and sloppy, kind of like mud, and fall apart, which is definitely not a goal of ours. If you find that you're having cracks and splits at the top, same thing. You can take a little water on your fingertips and you can pinch and kind of smooth over the surface. The key to getting your clay re-softened like this is to make sure that you are rubbing your fingers back and forth a lot in the same area until the water looks like it is absorbed into the clay, and that's how you're going to get this really smooth, soft surface. is by doing that over and over and over again. And slowly you're going to be able to repair these splits. If you're struggling with an uneven lip here, the other thing you can do is take a knife or a needle tool, and you can start by keeping your hand leaning against the table or another surface, and then starting where you would like to cut your bowl and keeping your hand steady, not moving this, but using your other hand to rotate and turn the bowl slowly. This will give you an even cutting surface. The lip should come out level and even. Remove your excess, and then you can work on smoothing out this rim using your fingertips again, and a pinch of water, just a little bit, just enough to soften the surface. Another thing to think about is to make sure that before you move on to another step, whatever you might be creating, make sure that every step you do is really as smooth as you want. If I never go in here and smooth out these cracks, they will stay like that. There will be, it's not going to magically smooth out in the kiln. It's going to stay cracked like that. So if I do not like that surface quality, then I'm going to want to take my fingertips and rub some water into the clay, continually doing it in the same area over and over and over again until slowly the water is fully absorbed into the clay and leaves a really soft, smooth surface. As you can see, there's definitely a huge improvement in this area versus these other cracked areas still. And that's all you need to know on how to create a pinch pot.